Hey guys, Ken Boyd with the Accounting Accidentally Substack channel. You can find it up here. And this post is called Mick Jagger, Goodnight Moon, Blue Apron, and Churn Rates. So the Rolling Stones were formed in 1962, which happens to be the year I was born, which was not very recently. Like a number of music acts, the Stones entered into some contracts that hurt them financially. It happened to the Eagles. It happened to tons of bands in the classic rock era. So here's a quote from a great article in the Wall Street Journal. The Stones weren't financial savants when they started. They learned the hard way by having serious business problems. To this day, they don't own the copyright to huge early hits like Satisfaction. But Mick Jagger, who's the front man for the Stones, was the head of the curve. They piled into merchandise, branding, and sponsorships when making money was verboten. They took the bullets, and today artists collect the cash. One of the things I was really proud of with the Stones is that we pioneered arena tours with their own stage, their own sound, and everything. We also did the same with stadiums, according to Mick Jagger. Nobody did tours of stadiums. So they found a way to make money to make up for the fact that they weren't getting some of their royalties. So what makes music royalties so valuable? Because they generate that valuable thing called recurring revenue. You only have to sell once when you have recurring revenue. Royalties on music, books, and other types of intellectual property can generate revenue for decades. And a great example is Goodnight Moon. You may have read this to your own kids or had this read to you when you were a child. If you have friends with kids, they may have this book on a bookshelf. As of 2017, the book has sold more than 48 million copies. I recently bought a copy for my niece's newborn. It was published in 1947 and still sells. So someone, maybe the author's estate, is still making royalties. And the best part, the author only had to write the book once, which brings us to SaaS companies and MRR. SaaS, by the way, stands for Software as a Service. As the name implies, monthly recurring revenue, or MRR, is revenue that posts every month. And subscription revenue is a great way to earn MRR, and SaaS companies attempt to generate MRR through software sales. A lot of my clients are SaaS companies. But the competition's fierce, and why not? Everyone would like to build a business using MRR. Well, just how many competitors are there? As an example, the travel and hospitality SaaS industry includes 169 companies who got to Series A funding, 26 who got to Series C or higher, and 19 that did an IPO. Lots and lots of competition. Competition makes it difficult to find customers and convince them to pay a monthly subscription and come back every month. Customer acquisition costs, or CAC, measures how much a company spends to acquire customers. So once you find a customer, you need to keep them by providing a great product and responsive customer service. And when the total monthly revenue you generate is more than the CAC, your company can become really profitable, because the monthly cost you incur becomes far less than MRR, which means a big profit. You don't have to pay for that customer acquisition cost again, and you still get all the revenue. But the opposite can happen. Customers may leave, and the percentage of customers who leave within a month or within a year, whatever you want to measure, is called your churn rate. And a high churn rate damages a business that relies on MRR. Just ask Blue Apron. So why does Blue Apron have the blues? I don't know if you've used these. Blue Apron sells meal kits, and I've used the service. You pay a monthly fee, and Blue Apron sends you a box with meal ingredients. I've also tried HelloFresh and Green Chef. We like Green Chef the best at my house. So think about it. Blue Apron spends millions to try to get customers to try the product. And the company's financial bet is that once you try the product, you'll stick with it and generate MRR. MRR eventually covers the cost of acquisition and generates high profits. That's the plan. But I churned as a customer, and it turns out a lot of other people did the same thing. As this link points out, backed by $135 million in venture funding and a $2 billion valuation, the company was primed to become the ultimate disruptor of the food and grocery industry. But what happened? An extreme obsession with customer acquisition killed its growth, leaving it with churn rates of upwards of 70%, meaning that 7 of every 10 customers did not come back. Blue Apron's competitors report similar churn rates after 12 months of acquiring a customer. Obviously, a 70% churn rate does not allow a business to become profitable, even if the customer acquisition cost was 3 cents. Well, maybe 3 cents might work, but you get the idea. So the lesson here, MRR costs may sound like a pot of gold, but high CAC and churn rates can break the business model. So that's our story on churn rates.